Good day, gentlemen and ladies, and welcome to this new video. With this video, we're going to be starting a new unit, and this unit is going to be about the weather. We're going to start with our ESSRT page number 18. Page number 18 gives us a weather map symbol, which is the picture we have right in front of us right now. Um, This imagery here is referred to as the station model. So whenever you hear anyone or you hear me say anything about station model, we are referring to all of these things, all of this symbol represented here within that circle that I just drew. Now, each of these things represent different things about the weather. Um, let's start with the middle part, which is this circle right here. Now, the circle is the middle part. Then we have the top left number. Then we have the bottom left number. Then we have the right top number. And then we have the middle numbers to the left with a symbol by its side. And then we have a middle number to the right with another symbol by its side. Now, each of these things represent different variables of the weather. So take note of these various position and what they mean. Now, on your ESSRT page number 18 already gives you a hint on what each of these things mean. For example, the circle in the middle represents sky cover. So it tells you about how much or what percentage of the sky is covered. Then attached to the circle is we'll call it a line. All right. A line is attached to the circle. Now that line tells you the wind direction. Attached to that line will be some feather. All right. So these two pointy lines out of it are referred to as feather. Now, those feather represents wind speed. So if you want to circle those two and say wind speed, which simply means the speed of the wind or wind velocity, while the line itself tells you about the wind direction. Tells you about wind direction. Now, it's a lot of information that is going to be coming to us on this page, but with lots of practice, we're going to get our hand on it on what each of these things mean. Now, the number to the top left represents your temperature, and the number to the bottom left represents your dew point, which is also in Fahrenheit. Now, both temperatures and dew point are in Fahrenheit. If temperature and dew point, if those two numbers are close to each other, it means humidity is high. Humidity simply means the amount of vapor in the atmosphere, the amount of vapor in the air. So if the amount of vapor is so much that the air can no longer take it, the air would release it back to the atmosphere as precipitation. Now, precipitation can be rain, can be snow, can be hail, can be anything that falls back from the sky as part of the weather is called precipitation. So again, if temperature and dew point are close to each other, it means humidity is high, which means the air has gotten enough vapor. The air wants to release everything back, which means it's about to rain or something is about to fall from the sky. So take note of that whenever temperature and dew points are close together, humidity is going to be high and some kind of precipitation is about to occur. Now, the number and the symbol at the middle part, the number represents visibility, which means how far you can see with your naked eyes. How far can you see? It's going to always be expressed in miles. So in this instance here is 3 miles, which means if you were driving, you can only see 3 miles ahead. You cannot see no more than 3 miles. But if the weather is foggy and there is hail or there is a storm or there is rain, you cannot see as far as if you have a clear sunny sky. So visibility would decrease if there is precipitation or if there is cloud cover or if there is something that reduces visibility. So visibility is a number that represents how far off you can see. The symbol attached to the visibility tells you what is going on in the weather. What is going on in the weather currently? So this could be rain, could be smoke, could be fog, could be hail, it could be sleet, could be thunderstorm, could be anything that is going on in the weather. All right. Now, to the right hand side, we have sea level pressure. This simply means the amount of pressure that the air is exerting on the Earth's surface. Remember, air above us in the atmosphere has weight, and the exact weight on the Earth's surface, and that weight that they exert downward generates pressure referred to as atmospheric pressure, which means the pressure from the atmosphere, the pressure from the air. So that number is always represented in three numbers, all right, in three digits. Now, if those three digits is less than 500, if it's less than 500, all you have to do is put 10 in front of that number. For example, since this is 107, is less than 500. So what I would do now is I'm going to put 10 in front of it, and then I'm going to put a decimal between the last two, which is 0 and 7. And my answer will be MB right here. We're going to practice more of it as we go. However, if the number is greater than 500, then all you have to do is put 9 in front of it. If it's less than 500, you put 10 in front of it, and then a decimal point between the last two. As we do some practice, you're going to understand this and get better at it. Now to the right middle part, the first number represents the pressure trend, which means how has the pressure changed in the last 3 hours. In the last 3 hours. So in this case, it's 45. So you take that number 45, and then you put a decimal between the two, and then you're going to put MB. They're going to see a symbol attached to that number. If that symbol is slashing downward, it means the trend is changing downwards, which means the pressure has changed from a higher number and has dropped by 4.5 over the last 3 hours. All right, so that's what that slashing down means in this case. Again, with more practice, we're going to get used to this, and I think this page is really more about practicing it more and using your eyes to look at all of the symbols that are represented in page number 18. All right, again, so this is how it's going to look like. We have a number, a symbol at the middle, attached to it is a feather, and then we have a top left number, top bottom left number, and then we have a middle number, then you have right top, and then right middle as well. And then you have all of this other information coming from that ESSRT page number 18. I'm going to quickly breeze through this. First is the wind speed. We just talked about the wind speed moments ago. If it's just a line attached to it, then the speed of the wind is less than 5 knots. 5 knots is just a way of measuring the speed at which the wind is moving. If you have the symbol, it simply means that the wind is calm. The wind is not moving or blowing. All right. Then when you have the straight line with a little half slash line in between, it represents 5 knots. If the line is all the way at the end and longer, then you have 10 knots. If you have two of those big lines, then it's 20 knots because each of them represents 10 knots. Then for 25, you can see that it's 2 whole slashes and then a half one, which means one is 10, one is 10, and one is 5. So 10 plus 10, 20, and a half, 5, and that gives you 25. And then for 50 knots, you have that painted in that way. So it's just a matter of you getting used to how these numbers are represented and just read off and interpret from there. Next is wind direction. We should be all familiar with this: north, south, east, and west. And anything between north and east would be your northeast. Anything between your south and your east would be your southeast. And between south and west would be your southwest. And between north and northwest would be your northwest. So take note of those directions as well. Air pressure can only be of two kinds. You have high pressure and low pressure. High pressure is represented by the letter H in capital letter, and then low pressure is represented by the letter L in capital letter as well. And then we back again to pressure, which is the pressure from the atmosphere at sea level. Now, take note that I did say that if the number is less than 500, if you want to annotate this, ensure you're annotating this, less than 500, you're going to put 10 in front. And then if it's more than 500, then you're going to put 9 in front. Okay, so let's take the number 410, for example. So we have the number 410. Since 410 is less than 500, I'm going to take 410, I'm going to add 10, which is 10 in front of it. And I'm going to put a decimal between the last two digits, which is 1 and 0. And I'm going to put a decimal right there. And finally, our answer becomes 1041.0 because the 0 is between the 1 and the 0. Then I'm going to put MB in front of it. Same thing applies to the 103. You take the number 103. Since it's less than 500, I'm going to take 10 and put 10 in front of it. And then I'll put a decimal between the last two, which is between 0 and 3. And once I put my decimal in there, my answer becomes 1010.3. And that's what we have here, 1010.3. For the last two numbers, I'm just going to take one for the sake of time. 987 is greater than 500. So since it's greater than 500, all I'm going to do is put 9 in front of it. Sorry, since it's greater than 500, I'm going to put 9 in front of it. So I'm going to put another 9 in front of this. And then I'm going to put a decimal between the last two digits, which is 8 and 7. So I'm going to put a decimal in there and then put my MB. So 987 becomes 998.7 MB. MB simply means millibars. We're going to get to that in the units as we go on. Then weather condition. This is going to be the symbols that will be attached to the middle left side of the station model. You have that symbol for rain, if the rain is light, and then if the rain is moderate, and if the rain is heavy. So the heavier the rain, the more dots we're going to have on top. Same thing applies to snow, same thing applies to drizzle. And then we have steady. Steady simply means that the rain is constantly falling. It's not just intermittent. It's not just a slight rain just passing by, but that this rainfall is consistent, maybe throughout the whole day, for example. So this becomes a steady light rain. This becomes a steady moderate rain, and this becomes a steady heavy rain. Now pay attention to those symbols, and same thing again would apply to snow and drizzling. For thunder, let me take this out. For thunder is the same thing. You're just basically looking at it and just interpreting. We have light thunder, then we have heavy thunder. And thunders could often come with rain, or could come with snow, or can come with hail. So if it comes with rain, you have the symbol for rain right on top of the thunder. If it's a heavy thunder, then you're going to have the symbol for thunder moving a little bit further compared to the light thunder. The light thunder is just 1, 2. For the heavy thunder, you have 1, 2, and 3 before the arrow comes in. So take note of that. And whatever the symbol is on top tells you what is precipitating, what is happening at the weather. So precipitation again is anything that falls back from the atmosphere, which could be rain, drizzling, or snow. All right. Next, sky cover. Sky cover simply means the percentage of the sky that is covered. Now, if there is no cloud cover at all on a very, very sunny day, then you have that the circle is completely empty. So there is no cloud at all. The opposite of that will be complete overcast, which means the entire sky is covered by clouds and you cannot even see the sun. So that is called overcast. Or 10% of the sky can be covered, and then you have that symbol, 10%. The opposite of that would be 90% of the sky being covered. So take note of how it is represented with a middle bar right in the middle of the circle for 10%, and then shaded oppositely would be for 90%. 1/4, that would be approximately 25% of the sky is covered. 1/2, that would be 50% of the sky covered. 3 out of 4, that will be 75% of the sky is covered, and then you have 90%, and then you have the rest. Sky obscured simply means wherever the observer is not able to see the sky because maybe it's under something or maybe it's underground, whatever the case might be. Then you also have this symbol again, miscellaneous sky cover, haze, smoke, sand, and dust, fog in patches, light fog, heavy fog. Then you have different kinds of shower here. You have light shower, moderate and heavy shower, violent rain, sleet, and so on and so forth. Just pay attention to each of those symbols and know what they mean. The pressure trend, we already hinted on this. If the slash line is going up, it means that the trend is increasing. The pressure is increasing continuously. So the pressure is rising continuously. But if it's slashing downward, it means it's going downward. Pressure is falling continuously. Then you have this rising, and then falling. Then you have falling, steady, and falling. Right. So take note of each of those symbol as well. The bottom here you have hail, tornado, hurricane, sleet, snow gains, drifting snow. Then you have freezing light. Then you have drizzling heavy. You have freezing rain and all of that. At the bottom here you have front. Front is something we're going to learn entirely, but just pay attention to the four kinds of fronts that we have there. The cold front with a triangle pointing in any direction. Then you have the one front with a semicircle on the line. Then you have stationary, combining both triangle and circles. Then you have uncluded, combining both triangles and circles, but all of them facing the same direction. Okay, let's jump into a little bit of practice here and then we'll get a hand on things. Question number 1. What station model represents a location that is currently receiving some form of precipitation? Again, that word precipitation comes again. We said precipitation simply means anything falling back, anything that is falling back from the sky. And this could be rain, this could be snow, this could be hail, it could be anything that precipitates back to the Earth's surface. So let's eliminate here. So remember, anything that's falling from the sky would be the present weather. And that symbol would be represented the middle left side. So to the middle left side, I see a symbol right there. I see a symbol right here. Option B, I don't see any symbol. So option B is out. Option D, I see a symbol. Now for option A, when you look at that symbol using your ESSRT, page number 18, that symbol for A represents freezing drizzle, which means something is coming, something is falling from the sky. So the question is asking which location currently shows some currently receiving some form of precipitation, which means something falling from the sky. Option A does sound like our answer, because we are having some drizzle, some light freezing drizzle from the atmosphere here. Option C has that equal sign there. Equal sign means light fog. Light fog is not a precipitation falling back to the Earth's surface, so that wouldn't work. Option D, we have that infinite symbol there, and that represents haze. Again, haze is more about cloud cover. Both fog and haze are more about sky cover, not precipitation, not weather condition that is falling back to the Earth's surface. So A remains our answer. Question number 2. Base your answer to the following question on your Earth science reference table and your knowledge of Earth and space science. The station model is shown, and you have that lovely there, and it's asking, what is the air pressure at this location? So again, air pressure would be the number to the top right side. So top right side would be this number. Again, we said if the number is less than 500, we'll put 10 in front of it. If the number is more than 500, we're going to put 9 in front of it. So 0 to 9 is a number less than 500. So I'm going to put 10 in front of it. So I'm going to put 10 right in front of it. Then I'm going to put a decimal point between the last two numbers, which is 2 and 9. So I'm going to put my decimal right there. And I'm going to put MB. So the pressure for the station model will be option A, out. Option B, that looks like our answer. Option C, wrong. It should be 2.9, not 29. Wrong, wrong. Our answer is B. See, that's how you're going to keep practicing with this. Less than 500, you put 10 in front of it. More than 500, you put 9 in front. Question number 3. What is the approximate wind direction and wind speed indicated by this station model? Again, this represents the cloud cover, and I see this line coming in. This line is coming from this is north, this is south, this is east, and this is west. So this line attached to the circle is coming from the northwest to join the circle. So the wind direction is northwest. So southeast is out. Southeast is out. So we have northwest, northwest. Then the wind speed has 2 full feathers, each of them 10 knots, 10 knots, and then half feather representing 5 knots. So it's 10 plus 10 plus 5, 25 knots. So our answer here is C, not A. Easy breezy. Question number 4. Which statement correctly describes the relative humidity at this station? Remember, relative humidity is measured between the temperature between the air temperature, which is the number to the top left, versus the dew point, which is the number to the left bottom. So I'm looking at this number and this number. Now, these two numbers, they are already the same. So once they are already the same, it means humidity is very, very high. So humidity cannot be 0. Option A is out. Humidity cannot be 50%. Option D is also out. Okay. Option B says relative humidity is 100% because the air temperature and dew points are 48 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes. Let's look at option C. The relative humidity is 98.6% because 986 is the symbol for something that doesn't work with me. So yeah, B is my answer here. And finally, our last question. Base your answer to the following question on the Earth Science Reference Table and the map and the weather map below showing part of United States and the knowledge of Earth science. Which city has the highest relative humidity? Which city has the highest relative humidity? Chicago, Illinois. So I see Chicago right here. Option B, Buffalo, New York. Buffalo, New York is right around here. So I'm looking at those symbols. Albany, New York. Albany, New York is right around here. And Boston, Massachusetts, right around here as well. So out of those 4 options, which one has the highest humidity? Now, once humidity is close, the number between the air temperature and the dew point, if the numbers are closer, the humidity is higher. And we can tell the humidity is high by the amounts of cloud cover. So if the cloud is covered more, a more percent of the cloud is covered, the humidity is even higher. So for Chicago, there's no cloud cover at all. So because there's no cloud cover, humidity will be low. And hence, the number between the temperature of 51 and the dew point 42, the numbers are far apart. So option A doesn't work for me. Option B, Buffalo, New York. Buffalo, New York is right around here. And I can see it's 58 and 56. And it's completely, the temperature is completely, sorry, the cloud cover is completely painted. So that could be our answer. Let's hold on. Let's hold on. C, Albany, New York. Albany, New York, I have 62, 62, and the cloud cover is completely covered. Now, Albany, New York has more humidity compared to Buffalo, New York. How do I know? Even though both of them have 100% cloud cover, the number between the air temperature and the dew point for Buffalo, New York, there's a slight difference between the two. One is 58, one is 56. So there's a 2 degrees Fahrenheit difference there. But for Albany, it is 62, 62. There is no difference at all, which means that is a higher humidity because the two numbers are already the same. So yeah, my answer most probably would be Albany, New York compared to B. So I would eliminate B. How about D, Boston? Boston had a cloud cover of 25%. So Boston is not it either. So our answer is C. So this is how we're going to be practicing with this ESSRT page number 18. And with time, it will become second nature with a lot of practice. All right, see you around.